Hi everyone, how are you all doing? Today I've decided to share some thoughts about the movie Avatar, The Way of Water, which I went to see yesterday. I'm not going to talk about the storyline, so don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who haven't seen it yet. I know that a lot of people have already seen it, but I know a lot of people haven't and they are planning to go to watch it, so I'm not going to talk about the storyline. I was just quite moved by the movie itself. There was a lot of profound messages, I would say. I personally believe James Cameron must be quite a awake spiritual person. He definitely understands a lot of things. And yeah, I was quite curious to know what exactly was going on in the chart on a day when the movie was officially released, which was 15th of December. In some countries, it was the 16th of December. I am fully aware that this movie was delayed by about 13 years, so it took quite a while for it to actually be released to the public, but I'm just going to stick with the 15th of December. So I have the chart here, obviously because I don't know the exact time, and I guess it was different for different countries. I'm not aware of where exactly it was released first. But anyway, I'm just going to go by where the planets were on that day, and the sun was obviously still in a sign of Sagittarius, which is talking all about the truth, the expansions of our reality, about opening our mind, which would make sense because this movie definitely definitely gives people something to think about if they look at it from a little bit deeper point of view, not just what they see on a screen and get too absorbed by all the special effects and technology, which is definitely outstanding in this movie. But I think there is much deeper message behind it than just looking at the special effects. But anyway, at that time, the ruler Jupiter was actually on a 29 degrees of Pisces, still in a white orb conjunction with Neptune. So we're talking about new phase conjunction. So there is a information coming out, obviously a belief system or some truth out there, something to consider, some deeper knowledge that could potentially cause something else to dissolve, or it could point to a higher meaning of something. And these both of them were actually at the time square in the sun, so that was the first quarter square, so the crisis in action. So what I got in this movie was a lot of I also had a discussion with my housemate, and she pointed out there was definitely a lot of violence. But I think the important thing here to consider is that everything we see on the outside is a reflection of what's going on in the internal. So seeing a movie that is showing us a lot of violence, it's definitely a proof that there is still a lot unresolved within the human consciousness, because everything that is out there is coming from within us, and we as a collective consciousness are projecting into the reality. So something that is quite unpleasant and emotional to look at perhaps is just a indication that there is a shadow to be integrated and healed within the collective consciousness. And despite the fact that, yes, I would have preferred to see a little bit less of it, but it's the reality we are living in today's world. And we cannot just hide and completely pretend that it's not happening, because it is, and it needs healing and integration. So this was something that was not necessarily pleasant to observe in a movie, and obviously all the human shadow that is still unresolved, as I mentioned, when it comes to interaction between the characters and the relationships, maybe less positive relationships and emotions that are being portrayed. But this is, as mentioned before, a reflection of our inner world. So it's not just a particular person, but it's in all of us. Pluto obviously still in Capricorn, so he's doing a good job there, restructuring our reality, making a lot of changes in the definition of the world as we know it now. Pluto is going to move into Aquarius quite soon in March, only for 3 months, but that's going to be very interesting new energy. And Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, so the ruler of Pluto, still in Aquarius, at that time making still within a degree square to Uranus and to North Node. So it's a closing square, so crisis in consciousness. So from this point of view, what we still need to restructure, what we still need to liberate ourselves from, to pretty much be able to put our essence into the world, to be free. And having a Uranus in Taurus is telling about our values, what is important to us. So this entire transit of Uranus in Taurus and currently North Node still in Taurus is telling us about perhaps reevaluating what we see as an important thing in this life, in current reality, which is another thing that personally I got emotional about in the movie. What people the people, human people in the movie were doing in regards of their impact on the nature, and like they obviously had a monetary gain in mind, which is pretty much the reality we live in. People are doing a lot of things and causing harm and depleting resources with only profit in mind, not really thinking about how it's affecting nature or how it's affecting the whole ecosystem and its impact on us and on each other. So this definitely was portrayed really well, about the imbalance between humans and nature, which is still very, very prevalent and present in current society. And that is, I would say, could be quite felt by the square as well, like how we need to liberate ourselves from the definitions of what our values are, what we find as valuable in this life, in order to bring more balance into the world. Neptune, Jupiter, we're still in degree conjunction, 7 degrees apart. So this again, information, perhaps a different point of reality, different outlook based on maybe the information that we got from the movie, that is maybe helping us to dissolve certain attachments to our reality or belief system, belief structures, and also helping us to find a higher meaning. Like, what is higher meaning in all of this? Why are we actually here? It's definitely not just to deplete resources, become rich. I mean, obviously, money is important in current 3D reality, especially with the North Node in Taurus. How do we become self-sufficient and self-reliant in an individuated way? But I think there is, with the opposition to Moon on that day, Moon in Virgo, what still needs healing and integrating in order to be able to recognize what our true purpose actually is. Also with the Moon in Virgo, how do we relate to each other? Well, I had it in a 7th house in this chart, which is obviously not necessarily accurate, but what still needs healing in regards of our identity, perhaps feeling of shame, feeling of inadequacy, guilt, also striving for perfection. That's the one thing that they were trying to get resourced in a movie to fulfill certain things people are chasing after in current society. And is this need for perfection, like to be perfect physically and on all levels. So that definitely could be seen there. And then actually I have a square here, from the Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and mutable square. That's it. I remember that mutable square. So it's talking about flexibility, how being rigidly attached to reality as we knew it is not necessarily serving us anymore. Also, already been Mars in retrograde. I mean, Mars been in retrograde for a while now. In Gemini, is again thinking about re-evaluating, rethinking that which is instinctively helping us to act, like our instinctual need for action, for trying something new, like to rethink in the process, like why are we doing what we're doing, what is actually the purpose of that, and that was actually square with the moon as well. How is that attached to the reality of our identity, how we identify ourselves with this need for perfection, or perhaps this feeling of guilt and shame towards not being perfect. And that's I think also a partially curse of current world, that everybody is trying to be perhaps not everybody, but a lot of people, physically perfect, or they think inadequate. They feel guilty if they are different, which is all this Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus going through Taurus. Is teaching us to actually liberate and individuate ourselves, to be, it's okay to be outside of the box, to step out outside the box, to not follow the consensus and not necessarily value what everybody else is valuing, to not see the reality in the same world, to create our own individuated definition of what is reality, what is important for us, who we are. And with the South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus, also letting go of everything that is keeping us disempowered. Also in the movie, it was a lot of facing of fear, like facing our inner demons. There was a lot of opportunities for them from different characters to be able to overcome, just face the fear face to face, and overcome that which we feel that is stopping us from our empowerment, or stopping us from having control over aspects of our life, and just face it. And then in many cases it actually turns out not to be as scary as we thought, like the relationship that Avatar's son created with the creature. And yeah, actually the reality sometimes could be very different, and then it helps us to become more in our power, to actually become fearless. And there was a lot of message of that, also a lot of message about family and family structure, about, like I said, the values which are different for everyone. You know, the square between Mars and Moon at that day actually could be talking about family, because Moon represents the family structure. Square between Sun and the Moon, again, like integrating our inner essence. Last quarter square, what do we need, who we need to become in order to be able to shine our light. The Sun in Sagittarius, opening our mind to the world, opening our horizons, and integrating new information that is helping us to see reality in a completely different way. So anyway, there are a lot of things. Actually, there is a finger of God pointing towards the South Node. So there is a lot of releasing that still needs to happen, releasing from our attachments, things that are keeping us imprisoned and in a state of disempowerment. And it's coming from Chiron, the wounded healer. So there is a lot of collective wound that needs healing. It is the sign of Aries, so it's a new beginning for us. So in order to be able to start anew, we need to heal and integrate the wounds of the past, and not to be afraid to step into something unknown, something unexpected. And the other side of it is the Mars. So yeah, again, it's talking about the same thing, Mars, new beginning. How do we let go of be feeling imprisoned by our past, and by things that are keeping us disempowered, and just step into the new, and just try. Like, what is the worst thing that can happen? We just fail and try again. It's all good. It's all good. Everything is perfect. So anyway, there are a lot of things I'm sure that people with more experience could talk about. I just thought, from the curious point of view, to have a look, because like I said, the movie had quite a deep impact on me. Obviously, me being Cancer Moon, I'm very empathetic and quite emotional. So the movie touched me quite deeply. And I'm sure that everybody who will decide to watch it will have their own take on the movie, and what they've seen and what they heard, what they experienced from watching it. which could be very different from mine. But just to wrap up my idea about what the movie is bringing to me in my subjective reality is facing the fears. Just go with your inner guidance. Don't be afraid to follow your own truth and step into your power. Try new things, even if they don't make sense to anyone else. Just try, because you never know where they might lead. Every new information, every new horizon that opens up leads to something unexpected, which is always the lesson. So there is no such a thing as bad choice, as I mentioned before. And yeah, it's all about redefining the reality and reevaluating what's important to us, which is all to do with the individuation process, as we know from the point of Uranus in Taurus. Reevaluating what's important for us, and which is then leading us onto the path of individuation, becoming our true selves and living more authentic life. And Saturn in Aquarius is helping with that as well, because it's restructuring and letting go of these stuck ideas of how reality could, like rigid view of how reality should work, because Aquarius is all about liberation, about having a different point of view, about stepping outside of the box and just becoming your true self. So anyway, I'm not sure if this made any sense or if it was helpful to anyone. I just think that the movie was great. My personal opinion, my experience. I took a lot from it. I definitely feel that there is a lot of work, lot more work to be done on a collective and individual level. And everything is exactly as it should be. We are exactly where we are supposed to be. There is no wrong place or time. Everything is perfect. So here we are. Enjoy when you go to watch it. If you did see it, I hope you had a good time, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now.